عليك يا نبي حبيبي يا محمد أتيت بالسلام والهدى محمد حبيبي يا محمد يا رحمة للعالمين يا محمد صلى الله على خاتم الأنبياء محمد رحمة للعالمين رحمة للعالمين محمد رحمة للعالمين رحمة للعالمين محمد رحمة للعالمين رحمة للعالمين.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. If you're just joining us, is the other woman reaching you live on Lights Radio. My name is AMINAT Adams. I am not alone. It's good to have my Hajja back, Hajja Wasila of Deshina, sitting pretty. Wa alaikum salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's really, really good to have you back. Alhamdulillah. But honestly, I should, subhanallah, I need to thank her specially. Subhanallah, she's like my lifeline. She's a lifeline for the other woman. Thanks to her, you know, we've come on every week. Many thanks to her. Jazakumullah khair. May Allah accept it from you as ibadah and not question you about it. May Allah make you very heavy on your skills.
Amen.
Right. Okay, we have some of our guests joining. Hajja Wasila, so what are we talking about today?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh, sis. You're welcome. Hajja Wasila.
Yeah.
Okay, so I said, what are we talking about? It's all about the hijab. It's all. I think. Let me.
Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin. Today we are talking more about the rights of hijab. I don't know why it's still a problem in Nigeria, especially here in Southwest. So that's why the fact that
we won the Supreme Court judgment, right?
Colonize us because they have outgrown this kind of thing, but it's still very rampant. You see, and the other time I saw somebody that graduated from one university in Abuja, I can't remember the name now. She was fully wearing the niqab. I think she was one of the best graduating students or something like that. And to think about that in Nigeria, that especially here in Southwest, people are still being harassed, being questioned, giving all those stuff regarding the hijab case. So apparently we have our lawyers with us today, and we hope that our second lawyer will be able to join. We welcome our sister, our Ugoritagi lawyer, that's the sister Aziza Mose Sadiq. And we hope our hijab right advocacy will soon join us, inshallah.
Inshallah. So that's Hajja Mutia Orolu Balogo. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be an interesting one today. And so the way I would like us to start is, first of all, to share our own. Does any one of us have any unique hijab story? Did you face any challenge at any point in your life? For example, I mean, I have numerous stories to share at the workplace, at the customs immigration office, for example. I've faced it during the visa, application process. So it's alarming. In fact, I'm going to share the visa one because it's the most interesting one, and then of course now I'll give the floor to everyone else to share theirs. So mine at the there's a banner on the floor, and they've put the acceptable hijabs, and I could see this lady ears covered in the hijab. And the person who was going to do my data capture insisted that I had to expose my ears and push my veil back to reveal my whole forehead, the full circumference, meaning that part of my front hair would show. Some of us that have this front line hair, and so insisting that my hijab had to move behind just to reveal the entire face. And I pointed, I said, look, I'm looking at that picture. I've adjusted my hijab to suit that picture. I don't see her ears showing. There was the one that had the ears showing and it looked so ugly. It made her look, I don't even want to mention what came to my mind. But yes, that was my own story. And so I stood my ground. I insisted that, look, my passport has my picture with the hijab covering my ears. If you insist that I take it off, I would insist that I leave it like that. Let the UK embassy decide my fate. You will not decide my fate. So I insisted, take the picture the way it is. I am not revealing my ears. Put it on my report. Write a report about me, blacklisting me, that they should not give me a visa because I was adamant. And so I said to him, make sure you put that in the report. I am not going to reveal my ears. I'm going to insist on my rights. And lo and behold, I got the visa. So it was just him playing, just doing his thing, doing what they know how to do best, oppress and, embarrass the Muslims. What's your case, Hajia Aziza, Barrister Aziza? Have you had any challenge with the hijab? Have you been harassed, embarrassed, oppressed just because you don the hijab? Barrister Aziza, I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Yeah, sorry, I'll try to unmute.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so I've had my own fair share, and I don't think it's something that goes away. No matter how you strive, no matter how good you are at work, because I do a lot of client interface, you will have clients that I've gone to a client's office before that when I got there, she saw me. She didn't want me to attend the meeting with her, and she called the office and she spoke with one of the partners then, who told her that, look, that's the only person that can solve your problem. You had better let her in.
Wow.
It's an ongoing problem, even in looking for a job in those days. I mean, I went for an interview where the owner of the law firm, this is a law firm that had like 2 Muslim partners, and when I got there, the person refused to even interview me because of the way I was dressed.
Right.
And so I left.
Subhanallah.
So it's a reoccurring issue. It's something that, and unfortunately, even when I have that issue in my office, I don't go back to the office to complain because I'm not sure how it will be managed. So I always just find my way to deal with it without necessarily coming across as rude to the client, because customer is
always
so
right.
You just have to manage it. I mean, so I've had clients send me messages that, you need to change your ways so that you'll not go to hellfire, the way you're dressing. And I mean, I respectfully told that client that I'll appreciate if we leave our conversations at professional client relationship issues and not going to my personal space. And he said understood. So it's a sad thing. The only luck I've had is that I work in a place where focus has always been, even from the beginning, even before inclusion became something that everybody talked about. Focus had always been on the quality of what you can deliver. During my interview, I was asked, and I did tell, it was asked not as a question in a confrontational manner, but just, okay, what does your hijab? And I answered. And so even when I started work, I struggled a bit with shaking of hands and not shaking of hands. And initially, there was a bit of compromise at my end. But I just realized to myself that, look, I cannot continue compromise.
To what end?
I mean, I was laughed at in the office. So now when I go for meetings, even before I became a partner, when I don't shake hands, anybody that attends the meeting will say, Azad does not shake hands, I'll shake it, I'll take it for you, or you take it for her, and all of that. But there are people that will willingly accept you. There are people that will just not feel comfortable with you being around. So it's I think it's just one thing that I've come to accept, and so I don't allow it to disturb me. I just focus on the work I'm doing and I move on. Provided you can't find faults in my work, whatever you feel or whatever you're thinking is your personal issue. I have nothing to do with me, so deal with it.
Right. So just very quickly, before I come to Haja Wasila, I'm still with you, Sis Aziza. So there's something. The reason why this is coming up now, the reason why we're raising it is because of what happened in Federal University of Agriculture, Belkuta. So again, a sister is being denied her legit rights. Can you give us a bit of background for those that don't even know what I'm talking about? What happened in Futa? Give us a bit of background and an update. Where are we with that case right now?
Okay, so I mean, like I told Wasila that Mutiat is more, even though I'm a member of a Hijab rights advocacy, Mutiat is more hands-on than I am, but I'll try to give an update of. So there was a sister, I think the sister wears the niqab and she was denied access into the exam.
Right.
So Sister Wasila, Mutiat says she's having issues joining.
Oh wow!
Can you maybe send the link to her?
Okay.
She just sent me a message now. So and then there was all of the protests and all of that. And yesterday there was a circuit. Everybody started jumping up that the school now allowed niqab and hijab. Only for us to see the circular. I mean, I got it from Mutiat this morning or late last night. Where what the school is now saying is that you can wear your hijab, you can do this, but facial identification will be done with a female examiner. However, you cannot wear your veil during exam. Now, it makes absolutely no sense. So the circular released by the school, which they have said is that they held some meetings, and the decision is that you can wear it, you can do any other thing with it, but during exam you can't wear it, but during exam you'll be allowed to sit in front. Why am I sitting in front? I want to wear my veil properly. Sitting in front is not a substitute to wearing my veil. And how lecturers, professors will think that that's the next alternative. If you tell someone to examine the person and you want to be sure that the person is not compromised, once you've done that, then you should be assured that there can't be any further compromise when the person gets into the exam hall. I mean, one of the things I've asked Ntiat is that, so what's the next step for us as hijab rights advocacy? Because there's a Supreme Court decision on the fact that wearing of hijab is a fundamental human right.
Sure.
And even though our fundamental human rights are necessarily not absolute, and where the rights would affect public policy or public health, then it can be restrained. But in the case of the hijab or the niqab, there's no public policy because there's no security issue. There's no public health issue. Now, if you have concern with regards to the examination, maybe someone will bring in on inappropriate documents or use the hijab to cheat, you put in the checks in place and get them to be properly searched by a female staff, which you have said you will do. So after you have done that, you need to be able to establish to that person what public policy or public health their niqab is affecting that is making you deny the rights. Because it is a right, the fundamental human rights as stated in the Constitution are absolute rights, and the circumstances in which they can be taken away from the beneficiary are also specifically stated. And hijab does not fall within any of those because there's no health issue, there's no public policy, it's not affecting any other person. So again, I'm hoping that the same way there was an uproar when the school took the decision not to allow the sisters, I'm really hoping that the Muslim community would rise again to this circular and then go to court with it because it is unconstitutional. You can't tell me, like, the fact that, and it's so unfortunate, you'll find that some of those people are even Muslims, and some will say, oh, that niqab. I mean, I remember when I was in law school, before the sister that eventually got out of the menace, when I was in law school, there was a major issue around the hijab or no hijab, allowing us to wear our cap for the dinner, even if we not allow hijab. I remember Alhaji Abdul Latif Adegbite, he really stood for us. Then he stood, he was there throughout, he ensured that, but there were Muslims on body of benchers who were saying that hijab is not compulsory. That still it's a mode of dressing. I remember I was in Kano campus and the school administrator at that time had a conversation with me with regards to the length of my skirts. That people are just taking it too far.
Extremism
like that. So I'm really hoping that with the circular released by FUNAP, the Muslim community will rise to the challenge and we will go to court. And not take laws into our hands because it is completely unconstitutional. You can't tell me that I can't wear my veil, I should sit in front. The invigilator is a male. So how does that solve my problem?
So let
How does it
me
solve my
respond.
problem?
Let me respond to that very quickly. I imagine for them, it's a thing of, okay, you're sitting in front. It's only me that can see your face. Nobody else is seeing your face. Like that makes it right.
Yes,
Like that
such
makes
a
it.
myopic view. Such a myopic view that why do you need to see my face? You have said that you are going to search me. After you have searched me, unless you don't trust your system, in which case deal with your system. If you've searched me and you didn't find anything on me that can allow me to cheat during the exam, what has seeing my face got to do with my writing the exam?
Barrister Aziza, can I play devil's advocate very quickly? Allow me to play the devil's advocate. So what if someone says, why are you stressing the system? Why are you making us go the extra mile for you? Why are you this? Why are you that? Because at the end of the day, the school needs to come up with apparatus, like we've just mentioned. If you need to check those people, additional levels of checks will need to be done. So what if they say, okay, I've checked before they came in, I've done the frisk check search, and who knows, they might be using an AI technology. She has inserted something in her eyes that I cannot see, and once the veil is there, then she can continue to do what so what if, I'm just playing the devil's, just being wild cat. What if?
Yes, so the thing is that every organization in Nigeria, no matter how big you are, we have laws, and everyone, and the constitution is the ground norm. I have a constitutional right that assures me of freedom of religion and freedom to express my religion, and I'm expressing my belief in the way that I dress. And that same constitution that granted me the right, again, has provided for instances where I cannot exercise that right. So anyone that wants to deprive me of that right needs to assure or prove to me that I fall within the exceptions in the constitution. Now, that you have to put in extra means to comply with my constitutional rights is your problem. I did not write the constitution.
It's your prerogative. You sort it out. It's not my fault that...
Exactly. Yes, I didn't write the constitution. If you think that the constitution is not broad enough, or the exemptions in the constitution, they are not broad enough, then there is a process. Go to National Assembly, write a case and say that those exceptions need to be further expanded. But to the extent that the source of my rights also has exception to when I can exercise that right, and what I am doing does not fall within any of those exceptions, you cannot create exceptions. I know everyone says that, when you are somewhere, you should abide by the rules. Then when you are in Rome, you do as they do in Rome. It's one of the excuses they give you.
Right.
But the beginning of the Rome is our constitution.
Right.
Your own existence, even as an institution, is based on the constitution. So you cannot make laws outside the constitution. You cannot do anything outside the constitution. Whatever laws you define for yourself cannot be contrary to the constitutional rights and the provisions of the constitution. And that's what I tell people when they say, but schools, when you're in school, you're meant to do this. That school, there is a law that governs everyone that is universally applicable. True. And it's not based on sex, it's not based on anything, and that is the constitution.
Right.
So you need to respect that, even as an organization.
Very true. Absolutely. Haja Wasila, you want to say anything?
What I would say is, it's just like what I mentioned earlier on. It's so sad that because it's public institution, for God's sake, it's not a private institution. You know, if it's a private institution now and is owned by a non-Muslim.
Yes, that's where that thing about doing Rome like the Romans.
You understand? If you are in Rome can apply, because I am the one that drove myself there and said that I want to come and school in your school. But the truth is, this is a public institution. All the Muslims there, we pay tax for those people that they are earning salary. It's part of our tax money, for God's sake. There is the Hijabian sister, they're paying tax from their little small businesses. There is a big men there that they have wives that they are using hijab and niqab, and they are getting taxes from them from different fronts. So if you are saying that the Muslims with hijab cannot use the public institution, then where exactly do you want them to go to? I've always said this many times, that you make the tax not exclusive. You did not say, okay, it's exclusive of you Muslims that you are wearing the hijab, niqab, and
don't pay tax.
And the schools that we are using this money and the other infrastructure that we are using this money to build, you are not going to be part of it. But everybody is in that bracket. So now you have that school, and that school, for God's sake, is in Abeokuta. It's the southwest. Abeokuta is not meant for only non-Muslims. It's meant for everybody. Our degree, our level of iman can change, can be different, but that doesn't mean that somebody that is using hijab is not giving you problem than saying that you too you must use the hijab.
Right.
Let the person
live and let live.
Let the person use the veil. We have, just like what the lawyer said, is our constitutional rights. Everybody has that right. I don't know why just a piece, something on your clothes is disturbing another person. You understand? The way you mentioned the hijab, I can tell you categorically that before, I normally see that, okay, those that normally cover their heads, you normally believe that, okay, they are always the one that they will be inside the house doing all those stuff and everything. But when I traveled to UK that time, in Luton, for example, the lady that I later became friends with, even when my mom saw her at my graduation, she was like, do we have niqab, right? People, I said yes, because this is something that, they think that is allowed, and we have some of them that they are even teachers, for God's sake, teachers teaching students, small children. But here, you don't even want them to excel at all. You just want them to sit down. And you are the same person that would say that they are just liabilities. And they don't want to read. Those ones, they are just there. They don't want to read. They are like that.
Let me quickly come to Barrister Aziza. Sorry, Hajja Wasila. Let me come to Dr. Barrister. I said doctor. Barrister Aziza. Don't add PhD to your matter. Sister Aziza, go and do PhD and professor. Right. So, hijab advocacy that we talk about, how widespread is it? How many people really know? What steps do we take to ensure people know their rights and there's a helpline, they know where to go to when they run into trouble? How much work is cut out for the hijab advocacy group?
Yeah, so again, I'll try to give details.
I know, we're still waiting for Hajja Patia to join.
I know that we do try. We always ensure when we receive the information, we try as much as possible to act. I mean, so it's a self-funding organization that lives off contributions from members and then donation. But thankfully, we have other organizations now like Murik also stepping in.
What about Mulan as well? Mulan is doing anything? I know about Murik. Is Mulan doing anything?
Yeah. So for students doing exam, for example, when JAMB is about to start or when WAEC registration is about to start, we always release those things on Facebook, on social media, like, you have the right to wear your hijab. This is your constitutional right. If you have any issues, we put the call number, the helpline for you to call us and reach out to us. And to the extent that we can, we do step in. You find situations where sometimes the parents themselves will compromise or they're not willing to follow through to the end. And the reality is that you can't cry more than the bereaved. By the time you step in and then the parent says, oh, you just have to step back. But yes, even though it looks like we are more in the south, because that's really where the problem is. We've had 1 or 2 cases in Abuja as well and in the north. And there's a sister in Abuja that also, I forgot her name right now, but there's a sister in Abuja that also helps to oversee where we have issues in that side of the country. We are trying to expand as much as we can, but again, like everything with Muslims, unfortunately, getting people to fund some of these things, getting people to participate financially or even contribute their time is a bit difficult, and we just use the limited resources that we have. But we also, the decision in the Supreme Court, we tried to create, make copies, and we distributed it. And we do an annual program where we also kind of re-emphasize during the Jabs Day, where we re-emphasize that, look, this is the helpline, there's this organization. There are also other organizations that exist, But with hijab rights advocacy, because most of us are lawyers, so it's also easier to provide support from a legal perspective.
Right.
But then we need more support. We need more people to join. We need more Muslims to join. We need to see it as a problem that defies. It's not just about me or you, or I wear my hijab, and I tell people that, look, I wear hijab, my children are boys, so I don't have an immediate problem, but then they're also going to marry, and then they will have their daughters, so you need to deal with the problem. You need to, we shouldn't wait to allow it to continue to fester, which I think is a problem. Some people believe that and so those that can support us financially or even have the relationship to make a difference.